the KMNN studios. This is the Kids Morning News Network. Good morning, everyone. It's July 22nd, 2024, and I'm Alex in the KMNN studio in New York. It is National Panoosh Fudge Day, or Panoochie. I've heard it both ways. Listen, I consider myself a fan of fudge, and I've been around long enough to have tried a few flavors, but I'd never run across Panoosh until I went to a fudge store on vacation last year. Hi, Murdoch's in Edgartown. And right away, this became the favorite flavor of everyone in the family. I don't know how to describe it, except that it's kind of brown sugar flavored. Much better than it sounds. I wish I had some now. The Olympics are getting underway in Paris this Friday. You don't have to be any particular age to be an Olympic athlete, but it takes time for most people to get really good at their sports. But not everybody. This year there are some teenagers who made the cut, and even an 11-year-old. The youngest member of Team USA is 16-year-old Hesley Rivera, who is on the gymnastics team. She's from New Jersey, and at the Olympic trials last month, she placed first on the balance beam. Another young American on Team USA is track and field athlete Quincy Wilson from Maryland, who's also 16. He will be the youngest male athlete on the team. His Olympic trials went well too. He set a world record. Maybe not surprisingly, the sport with the youngest athletes is skateboarding. There's a 15-year-old, a 14-year-old, and even an 11-year-old on Olympic teams. The youngest American skateboarder is 17-year-old Minna Stess from California. We'll get to see them all in action when the Olympics kick off this Friday in Paris. Unfortunately, the Kids Morning News Network will not be there on location. We weren't invited, but I will bring you updates in every show. All right, this past weekend marked the 55th anniversary of the first moon landing, Apollo 11, July 20th, 1969. There were 3 astronauts on the trip, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. They flew to the moon in the command module, which was about as big inside as a minivan. 3 guys for 4 days. You've probably heard the famous first words Neil Armstrong said as he stepped off the ladder of the moon lander and onto the surface of the moon. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Actually, he later said he meant to say one small step for a man, but the transmission cut out. More than half the people in the United States, 63%, watched the landing live on TV. Still the most watched TV event in our history. Well, they came home and they were heroes with parades and, well, actually, they spent the first 3 weeks in quarantine. Yes, 21 days isolated from everyone else because no one knew if they'd picked up some kind of bacteria or virus or space disease on the moon. And now we're getting ready to go back to the moon again, probably within the next, 10 years. What do you think? Do you want to go to the moon? Yes or no? Send me a message. Use that link in the episode description. It's riddle time. Friday's riddle was, I can't be heard, I can't be seen, I can't be felt, and I can't be smelt. I lie behind stars and under a hill. At night I awaken and caves I fill. What am I? The answer? The dark. I thought that was kind of a tough one. Here's one that's hopefully not so tough. If you drop me, I will crack, but smile at me and I'll smile back. What am I? If you drop me, I will crack, but smile at me and I'll smile back. What am I? Give you the answer on Wednesday, unless you send me a message through the link in the show description, and I will give you the answer early. But you gotta promise not to tell anyone. On this day in 1933, an American named Wiley Post landed his wood-framed single-engine plane in Brooklyn, New York, and became the very first person to fly all by themselves all the way around the world. He'd already flown around the world once, 2 years earlier, but he had a navigator with him that time. He wanted to do the trip solo, and along the way, show the world that new technology, like an autopilot, could be useful. It was. He left on July 15th, and when he landed at his first stop in Berlin, Germany, he became the first person to fly nonstop from New York to Berlin. Now, he had to stop several times for his plane to be repaired, but Wiley Post made it around the world in 7 days, 18 hours, and 49 minutes. He was already famous, and this flight was headline news. 50,000 people were there to see him when he landed back at Floyd Bennett Field. Oh, and when he landed, he didn't just become the first person to fly alone around the world. He became the first person to fly around the world twice. He really had a thing for setting records. Today, a lot of the eastern part of the country will be on the lookout for rain. I don't see any severe weather warnings there, but it could be wet. Temperatures should be pretty average summertime temperatures. But out west, from the northern Rockies down into Nevada and Southern California, it will be hot. And it might be windy, which could trigger some red flag warnings. With the fires burning in the Rockies, there will be a lot of haze and smoke around too, so definitely take it easy out there as much as you can. That's the show. Thank you very much for listening. I'll be back on Wednesday, and I hope you are too. From the KMNN Newsroom, this is Alex signing off.